Today we are going to touch on a topic that we have surely all experienced in one way or another, but that we rarely know how to identify with clarity. Envy. This is that feeling that can arise in those around us when they see something in us that they want but do not have. Has it ever happened to you that you perceive strange attitudes, comments out of place, or even behaviors that seem too friendly to be sincere? Well, maybe you are dealing with someone who is envious of you, and this is where Stoicism can give us a hand. The Stoics, with their focus on logic, reason, and self-control, teach us not to be carried away by the emotions or perceptions of others. Envy in the end is nothing more than a reflection of the insecurities of others, and learning to identify it without affecting us personally is an art. As Epictetus said, "What disturbs man is not things, but the opinions he has about them." If we interpret the envy of others as a direct attack, it hurts us, but if we see it for what it really is, a reflection of his own inner struggles, then we can keep our calm. In this video we are going to break down 9 clear ways to tell if someone is envious of you, and most importantly, we are going to learn how these signs can help you stay on your path without being sidetracked by other people's opinions or attitudes. First way, jokes that don't feel like jokes. It has happened to you that someone makes a comment that seems like a joke, but there is something in their tone or in the words that doesn't quite fit. Something like, "Sure, you are always lucky," or "It must be nice not to have to try as hard as others." Even if they wrap it as humor, these words are usually loaded with disguised resentment. It is a clear sign that that person feels something deeper, and many times that something is envy. Stoicism helps us here in an incredible way because it teaches us not to let ourselves be affected by what others say. Epictetus said, "If someone speaks badly of you, don't defend yourself. Just say, 'He doesn't know me well,' because if he did, he would say much worse things." This means that those comments are not a reflection of your value or your achievements, but of the emotions and frustrations of the person who says them. When someone makes those jokes, they are actually projecting their personal dissatisfaction. Perhaps they would like to be in your position or have something that you own, but instead of recognizing it or working for it, they choose to try to diminish your value with words that can hurt you. This is where it comes in the Stoic self-control. You don't react from emotion. Instead of getting angry or feeling bad, calmly observe what happens. Imagine this. Someone says in front of a group of people, something like "Sure, you got that job because you have contacts, not because you are that good at the time." You could choose to argue or prove them wrong, but the Stoic approach is more powerful. Respond calmly, perhaps with something simple, such as "Who you know." That type of response completely disarms the person who was trying to make you uncomfortable because you are not giving them the satisfaction of an emotional reaction. It is also useful to remember that these passive, aggressive comments are usually an attempt to get attention or seek validation. If you understand it from this perspective, you can even feel compassion for the person. Perhaps what they really need is inspiration, not confrontation, and this is where you can make a difference. Stand firm in your stance. Don't respond in kind, and remember that true strength is in your ability not to be swept away by the emotions of others. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is not to be like them. So when you hear those kinds of comments, don't waste your time explaining or defending yourself. Breathe, analyze the situation from logic, and move forward with the confidence that your value is not true. It does not depend on what others say or think. You see how this approach can help you. These situations are more common than we think, but with a Stoic mentality we not only recognize them, but we face them intelligently and without losing our inner peace. Second way, minimize your achievements or ignore them completely. Surely it has happened to you. You achieve something important, something that really cost you work and that makes you feel proud, and when you share it with someone, their reaction is indifference. Maybe they say something like, "Well, that's not that difficult either," or they just change the subject, as if what you said didn't matter. That's another clear sign that someone is envious of you. Instead of celebrating your successes with you, they try to detract from it, or, even worse, they ignore it completely. This is where Stoicism enlightens us again. CCA said, "It's greater who triumphs over their desires than who conquers their enemies, because the hardest victory is the victory over oneself, and this applies perfectly when someone minimizes your L is actually fighting against their own desires and insecurities. They see in you something that they would like to achieve, but they do not know how to handle that emotion. Instead of being inspired, they choose to reduce your merit so as not to feel less. Now, what do you do when this happens? It is easy to fall into the trap of wanting to justify yourself or seek approval, but it was difficult. It took me a lot of effort, but remember, from the point of view I am, you do not need anyone's validation for your achievements to have value. Marco Aurelio summed it up perfectly. The value of a man is not in the opinion of others, but in what he knows how to be inside. The next time someone tries minimize what you've done, just smile and thank them in silence. You don't need to convince them you're welcome, because your achievements already speak for themselves. And beware, it's not about responding with sarcasm or trying to make them look bad. A Stoic attitude always look for serenity. If someone says something like that, anyone does it. You can respond with something neutral, like maybe, but for me it was a great challenge and I'm happy with it. Result, point without drama, without the need to get into arguments. It is also important to reflect on the true motivation behind this attitude. Many times people who minimize your successes are dealing with their own feelings of inadequacy. Instead of feeling anger or frustration towards them, try to see it with compassion. It is not your job to fix their emotions, but you can prevent those attitudes from affecting you. Remember that your path is yours and the opinion of others does not define it. As Epictetus said, worry only about what is under your control, the rest, let it go. You cannot control how others react to your achievements, but you can decide how you react to their comments. Stay focused. Celebrate your achievements internally and keep moving forward. This way of minimizing or ignoring what you do can be a clear sign of envy, but also an opportunity to practice emotional strength. Third way, constant comparisons with you. You have noticed that someone always tries to compare themselves to you, even when it doesn't make much sense to do something like, you achieved that, but I did something better a long time ago, or you do have that job, but I have more experience in this. Constant comparisons are a very clear sign of envy. Instead of simply accepting your achievements or qualities, they seek to match you, or even worse, surpass you. In Stoicism helps us understand this dynamic from a very clear perspective. Comparisons are born from insecurity. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste time thinking about what others do or don't do. Focus on what you do." When someone is envious, they inevitably start to measure themselves against you because they are focused on what they don't have, instead of valuing what they do have. But that's their struggle, not yours. Then how to handle these situations? First, avoid falling into the game of comparisons. It's easy to answer something like, but I did this because it's harder, or trying to defend your achievements, but by doing so you're putting yourself on the same level of unnecessary competitiveness. Instead, take the stance of a true Stoic. Be indifferent if someone tells you, well, you did this, but I achieved something else great. An ana and powerful answer would be something like, good for you. Everyone has their own ways. This cuts off any attempt at discussion without lowering yourself to the game. Remember that competing with others is not the goal of life. Seneca said it masterfully. True happiness is in not needing to compare yourself with anyone. When someone is envious of you, comparisons are nothing more than their way of trying to feel better about themselves. If you understand this, you can let it go without it affecting you. In the end, your worth is not measured in relation to others, but by your own standards. Also observe how these comparisons can teach you something about yourself. If someone always seeks to compete with you, it means that they see something in you that they admire, even if they don't say it openly. That is a sign that you are doing something right. Instead of frustrating yourself, use it as to remain focused on your path. Stoicism also invites us to have compassion. If you think about it, whoever constantly compares himself to you is probably experiencing a very difficult internal struggle. So instead of taking it as an attack, look at it as an opportunity to practice patience and empathy. Respond calmly, keep moving forward, and remember that you have nothing to prove. As Epictetus said, it is not events that harm us, but our interpretation of them. Do not allow the comparisons of others to divert you from your focus. You are on your own path, and they are on theirs, even if they do not yet understand it. Fourth way, they celebrate your failures more than normal. You have noticed that there are people who, instead of supporting you when something does not go well for you, seem to enjoy it a little too much. Maybe they say things like, "I told you it was not as easy as you thought," or "well, it was to be expected." These reactions are not always obvious, but if you pay attention you will notice that there are those who are happier for your stumbles than for your achievements. That is a sign of envy that we cannot ignore. From Stoicism we can analyze this behavior in a rational way, and above all, Seneca practice said, "The man who suffers envy is not happy because he is not satisfied with what he has, but who is distressed by what he lacks compared to others." When someone celebrates your failures is actually relieving their own insecurity. It is as if they think, if he or she is not successful, so I am fine where I am, is a way to avoid confronting their own lack of action or ambition. And what can you do in the face of this? The first thing is not to take it personally. Someone who reacts this way, he is not attacking you directly, but is reflecting his own internal struggles. Epictetus reminds us, when you are insulted or laughed at, do not take it as an offense. It is only a projection of the one who does it. When someone celebrates your failures, stay calm and do not respond from emotion. If they comment something as, "You see, I knew it was not going to go well," you can respond with serenity, "Yes, it did not come out as I was hoping, but I learned something important." This kind of response not only shows maturity but also cuts off any attempt to continue with a negative attitude. Plus, Stoicism teaches us to see failures as opportunities for growth, not as endpoints. Marcus Aurelius said, "What gets in the way becomes the path." So if someone is happy about your stumbles, just look at it as an opportunity to demonstrate your resilience in the end. What matters is not how many times you fall, but how many times you get up. On the other hand, this type of behavior can also be a sign to review your social circles. If someone close to you is constantly happy about your failures, maybe it's time to rethink what place that person occupies in your life. Surrounding yourself with people who really celebrate your achievements and support you in difficult moments is essential to maintain an emotional balance. So the next time someone celebrates your failure, breathe, stay calm, and use that moment to strengthen yourself. The envy of others does not define your path. Your ability to keep moving forward does. Always remember this mint phrase: nothing it is more honorable than a calm mind in the face of adversity. Fifth way, they speak badly of you behind your back. This is one of the most obvious signs, and at the same time, more annoying. When someone feels envy, often look to vent, but not head-on. But with negative comments behind your back, they may exaggerate your mistakes, make things up about you, or try to influence how others perceive you. It's their way of trying to lower your image in front of others because they can't stand the brightness they see in you. Stoicism gives us a key tool here: indifference to what they see in you. That we cannot control. Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything you hear that is said about you, remember that it does not affect you if you do not allow it." If someone speaks badly of you, it does not mean that those words are true or that they have the power to define you. They are only opinions, and the opinions of others are not your reality. It is normal that when you find out that someone is criticizing you behind your back, you feel anger or feel like confront it. But this is where your Stoic training comes in. Instead of reacting impulsively, stop and ask yourself, this affects my life directly? Change who I am or what I have achieved? The answer most of the time will be a resounding no. For example, if someone comments something like how he does not deserve what he has, he surely got it easily. What do? You face that person? Not necessarily. A Stoic response would be to focus in your actions and not in defending your reputation. Epictetus said, "Worry more about your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is just what others think you are." This doesn't mean you should ignore everything. Always, if the situation gets out of control and starts to affect you directly, such as at work or in your close circle, you can approach the issue with calm and firmness. Something like, "I have heard certain comments and I want to clarify any misunderstandings directly with you." This shows maturity and avoids falling into unnecessary confrontations. It is also useful to remember that when someone speaks badly of you, they are showing more of themselves than of you. Many times criticism reflects what that person is not achieving in their own life. Seneca said, "No man envies what he does not want to have." If they are criticizing you, ultimately, use these experiences as opportunities to practice patience and strengthen your character. You can't control what others say, but you can control how you react at the end of the day. The words of others don't change who you are or what you've built. So the next time you hear that someone is talking badly about you, You breathe, stay serene, and remember that their envy is not your problem but their internal struggle. As Marcus Aurelius said, when you are unjustly attacked, stay calm. That is what will confuse your enemies the most. If you are enjoying this content and you think it is helping you identify attitudes that you may not have noticed before, like this video, that helps us a lot to continue creating valuable content for you and of. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are interested in learning more about how to apply Stoicism in your day-to-day, discover practical tools for your personal growth, and stay calm in any situation. This is the perfect place for you. Also activate the notification bell so you don't miss none of the next videos. Sixth way, try to imitate you, but without admitting it. Have you ever noticed that someone starts copying how you speak, how you dress, or even the decisions you make, but you never recognize it? It's as if they are obsessed with replicating your life, but at the same time they would like no one to notice this behavior. Although at first glance it might seem like a compliment, it can also be a sign of envy. From Stoicism we can understand this behavior as an internal struggle of the other person. Epictetus said, "Do not seek to imitate the lives of others. Focus on being the best version of yourself." However, when someone envies you, what they really want is what you have or represent, but they don't know how to build it for themselves. Then choose to try to copy yourself, even if deep down it makes them uncomfortable admitting that they admire you. Now, how to handle this type of situation? First, avoid taking it as something negative. It can be irritating, yes, but it is also an opportunity to practice patience and detachment. If someone imitates you, that does not diminish who you are or what you do. As Marcus Aurelius said, the sun does not lose its light because others try to reflect it. For example, imagine that someone begins to adopt your habits, your ideas, or even your projects, but presents it as if it were something totally theirs instead of confronting it or feeling annoyed. Remember that your focus should be on what you can control, your actions and your progress. If what you do is valuable, you will remain authentic no matter how many times others try to replicate it. In addition, this behavior reflects an internal struggle in the other person. Many times those who imitate are looking to fill a personal void. Perhaps they feel that by copying you they can achieve what you have without realizing that true success comes from building something unique from their own effort. This is where you can apply a little empathy instead of feeling frustrated. Look at it as a sign that you're doing something right, so well that others consider it worthy of imitation. However, it's important to set boundaries if the situation starts to cross the line. If you feel like someone is using your work, ideas, or your efforts in a way that directly affects you, you can approach it calmly and firmly. Something like, "I've noticed you're taking ideas similar to mine. We can talk to avoid misunderstandings." This shows maturity and avoids unnecessary conflicts. Finally, remember that even if someone tries to copy you, they will never be able to replicate what makes you unique. As Seneca said, "Nothing great is achieved by imitating others. The soul is magnified by being true to itself." Maintain your authenticity, keep moving forward on your own path, and let time show the difference between the original and the copy. Seventh, they underestimate your ideas or projects before you even start them. It has happened to you that you share an idea, a project, or a dream that excites you, and someone immediately tries to discourage you. They tell you things like that, "Someone already tried it and it didn't work," or "I don't think it's such a good idea. It seems too difficult." This attitude may seem like well-intentioned advice at first, but many times it is a form of disguised envy. Is their way of trying to extinguish your spark before you shine too brightly. From the Stoic point of view, this attitude reminds us that the judgment of others does not have to become a barrier for our actions. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly, "The opinion of others does not define who you are or what you can achieve." When someone underestimates your ideas, they do not do it because your projects are bad, but because they do not want to see you succeed in something that they don't even dare to try. Now, what can you do in the face of this? First, understand that their words don't have to determine your path. The Stoic mindset invites us to focus on what we can control, and that includes our decisions and our attitude in the face of criticism. If someone tries to discourage you, breathe and ask yourself what they are saying has real foundations or it only reflects their own insecurity. Many times you will discover that their negativity has nothing to do with you but with themselves. For example, if you share that you want to start a new business and someone tells you, "You really think you have what it takes for that?" instead of feeling bad, you can respond with serenity, "It is something that excites me and I am willing to learn along the way." This response not only disarms any denial, but reaffirms your confidence without getting into unnecessary debates. Seneca teaches us that great achievements will not always be understood by others. Nothing great was achieved by those who listened to those who said it couldn't be done. So when you meet people who underestimate your ideas, use it as a reminder that you're thinking big, something that's probably out of reach of your comfort zone. On the other hand, it's also helpful to observe how these attitudes can be a test of your conviction. If you truly believe in your project, negative opinions shouldn't stop you. Instead of seeking external approval, focus on making your actions speak louder than the words of others. Success in the end is the clearest answer to any doubts. Finally, remember that when someone underestimates your ideas, it's a sign that your vision challenges them from somehow. Maybe they see in you a potential that they themselves don't dare to explore. And that can lead to discomfort. But as Epictetus said, external things can't touch your soul. Stand firm and let others deal with their own fears. Eighth way, criticize you for things that don't make sense or exaggerate your flaws. You've surely noticed when someone out of nowhere starts pointing out your flaws, even when they don't. They have relevance in the moment or exaggerate any small mistakes, as if it were a big problem. Maybe they tell you something like always, you are late. That shows that you are not organized even if you arrived 5 minutes later than planned, or that color of clothes does not go with you. You should think better about how you dress, as if your wardrobe defined your value. These criticisms, apparently casual, are usually a clear reflection of envy. Stoicism teaches us that criticism should not disturb us, especially when it comes from people who are not in the same tune as us. Epictetus said it very well, it doesn't matter what others say about you, because the only thing that defines you are your actions. When someone criticizes irrelevant aspects or magnifies your mistakes, is trying to divert attention from your virtues and achievements, is their way of looking for faults to level the ground, because your success makes them feel insecure. What you can do when faced with these criticisms: first, analyze if they have any truth. Sometimes, even in malicious criticism, there may be a small opportunity for improvement. But if you discover that they are simply exaggerating or looking for baseless defects, do not wear yourself out trying to defend yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "The calm soul is invulnerable to the attacks of others." Stay calm and do not enter into the game of justification. For example, if someone says, "You always do everything halfway, that's why you will never go far." Instead of arguing, you could respond calmly, "It's curious that you see it like this, but I keep working to improve." A response every day. This shows confidence in yourself without the need to confront directly. In addition, Stoicism invites us to see these situations as exercises to strengthen our emotional resilience. Every time someone exaggerates your flaws, you have the opportunity. Indifference to external opinions was said. The wise man is not irritated by the empty words of others. His strength lies in his own inner peace. Another important key is not to let these criticisms affect you emotionally. Envious people often seek a reaction to feel superior. If you respond calmly, you are showing that their opinion has no power over you. By ignoring their attempts to provoke you, you are protecting your energy and your peace. Finally, notice how these criticisms can be an indicator that you are standing out in some way. When someone feels the need to exaggerate your defects, it is because they cannot ignore your virtues. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not let the words of others disturb your spirit. The light will always attract glances, even the negative ones." Ninth way, they try to sabotage you or put obstacles in your way. Have you ever felt that someone seems to be putting sticks in the wheel of your projects or ideas, but in such a subtle way that it's hard to notice at first? Maybe they don't do it openly, but you find that they are always looking for ways to complicate things for you or to discourage you indirectly. They may not help you when they promise to do it, or they may get in the way with comments. As I think it is not the right time for that, this attitude is another clear sign. Stoicism helps us face these behaviors with perspective and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we face is an opportunity to strengthen ourselves." Instead of seeing these attempts at sabotage as an insurmountable obstacle, you can interpret them as challenges that will help you grow. Because let's face it, if someone is trying to stop you, it is because you are moving faster than you think. They were now expecting how you handle these situations. The first thing is to identify the pattern. If someone constantly forgets to support you or throws comments that seem to be designed to make you doubt yourself, pause and analyze their intentions. They are really trying to help you, or their behavior reflects internal insecurities. A Stoic response to these obstacles is to stay calm and not get carried away by frustration. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are nothing more than opportunities." If someone tries to sabotage you, instead of confronting them with anger or resentment, just follow through with determination. Don't give them the power to divert your focus. For example, if you're working on an important project and someone constantly finds excuses not to collaborate or even delay it, an appropriate response would be to take control of what you can, instead of relying on them. Find alternatives. Show that even if try to put obstacles in your way, they can't stop your progress. Besides, these moments are perfect to reinforce your self-confidence. When someone tries to stop you, it means that they see something in you that worries them or surpasses them. Seneca said, "The strong spirit doesn't need approval. Move forward no matter how many try to stop it." Use those sabotage attempts as fuel to prove to yourself what you're capable of. On the other hand, it's also important to learn how to establish limits. If someone in your environment constantly seeks to stop you, whether out of envy or any other reason, it is valid to distance yourself. Surrounded by people who really support you is key to move forward without unnecessary distractions. Finally, remember that even if they try to sabotage you, they cannot stop your essence or your ability to create and achieve things. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is constantly changing, and your strength lies in adapting without losing your purpose."